Uh, our inaugural session, one part of the inaugural session is come to conclusion. And normally in conferences of this type, inaugural sessions are there, not ceremonial, but they are expected to set a context to the discussions that follow. I clearly see the speakers in the inaugural session have adequately set the context for the discussions to follow. I will take you through some of the important points that were made by the speakers, and that I hope that will be deliberated through the panels to follow. Initially, Ramaraj Garu has set the context and said that what are the kinds of panels that are there in this conference, and very clearly said that the conference is discussing the sustainable future and conducting a net zero dialogue, and at the same time discussing the balancing sustainability and profitability. Subsequently, Maurya Garu from Greenco, the Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director of Greenco, he very clearly outlined one thing: the way the world tackled COVID, okay, that gives us hope, a clear, not only hope, a clear possibility that we will be able to tackle and put our resources in place to address the climate change. I think that gives us many times there is a pessimism around whether we will be able to go through this transition, whether we will be able to put our resources together for this transition, etc., etc. He clearly set the context and the hope. And also, I am also a part of Greenco. The story of Greenco over the last few years also gives us a hope that as it's possible, not only to have firm renewable energy at a price comparable to a new coal-based power plant, an affordable, firm, dispatchable renewable energy. And out of that, we can also decarbonize significant content of the electricity from the AM Greens plan you are seeing, that we can have green fuels, green chemicals, green materials, etc., from the green hydrogen that is produced from the dispatchable, affordable renewable energy. So, there are two messages that came to me, which are also happen to be messages of integrated reports of Greenco. One says it's possible. The first message is it's possible to do it. The second message is that making green sustainable, making green socially and environmentally acceptable is possible. I think these two messages are coming out very clearly. I think as we go along, we will deliberate it further in the conference. And Maurya called for a decade of action. He said that this is the decade where we have to act and accelerate our action towards energy transition and industrial transformation. And there are already mature technologies, and he called upon political and financial sector leadership, okay, to address some amount of glitches that are there, but the technologies are mature enough. Okay, we should be able to deploy, we should be able to accelerate the climate action. I think that point was, I think this will be discussed further as we go along. And basically he called for a nudge from multilateral institutions that are absolutely necessary. Following that, the comprehensive coverage by Ms. Wendy Werner actually set the context for the overall conference. Okay, she of course said that sustainability is no longer optional, and she focused on extended producer responsibility and brought the focus to the circular economy that we need to address, and also outlined the IFC's focus that has always been there around combining profitability and sustainability through their various operational rules, etc., and performance standards. I think many of our companies, including Greenco, we all follow the IFC's performance standards and in all our investments. And further, I think Wendy also emphasized on sustainability linked loans. Okay, that is, I think, even though started from the multilateral financial institutions like IFC, I think more and more people are looking at the sustainability linked loans. Something similar to impact investing kind of an activity, but these are much more popular and operational. And she also talked about the ecosystem approach to sustainability. And I think one important thing she also added, I think it will be discussed in the panels, is the agri focus. I think we need to look into the possibility of making our agriculture system more efficient and more carbon neutral, and also providing healthy food to the populations. And another important point that was emphasized, which will also be discussed in the panels, is the inclusion. Though there was a specific item on gender inclusion, but overall she said that this development cannot be anything other than inclusive development. A sustainable development cannot be anything other than inclusive development. And going further, Eric initially started talking about the individual, what individual needs to do, right? Governments are started doing whatever they are doing, but the individual also should take a role in the whole thing. And this individual part is also emphasized by Government of India in its LIFE program. In the COP26, they brought forward the LIFE, and the LIFE actually talks about the individual and the more important, the consumption patterns. And of course, he pointed out how Finland is progressing both on addressing the climate targets and global warming, and also overall sustainable development, and especially the inclusion. He pointed out that India will definitely become the third largest economy. India will definitely achieve its $5 trillion target, etc., etc. But he also called upon all of us that development should be an inclusive development, and that development should be sustainable. I see that the Government of India and the people, we are all, and the business leadership, we all look forward to actually having sustainable development, and there is a significant focus. Government of India also has a significant focus on looking at sustainable development as an opportunity than as a imperative or a compulsion or a regulatory compliance. More importantly, Eric also talked about what happened at Baku,